Hello, welcome to PremierGuns, and today we're going to be talking about a new gun to us, the Cogswell Harrison Optimum. Bit of a different brand for us here, the Cogswell Harrison. Not something we usually stock, but we have been offered these, brand new. And we thought we'd just talk a little bit about them because they're not that mainstream compared to a lot of the other things on the market. So starting from the back, we've got a concealed butt plate here, so no fancy rubber pads here. Being a game gun, obviously that's the traditional way, but obviously if someone did want a rubber pad, it can be retrofitted at a later date, but these do come with a concealed wooden plate as standard. Moving on to this striking bit of wood, grade 4 Turkish walnut on this. And I think you can agree that it's a particularly nice piece. We'll flip it over front to back, stunning piece of wood. Moving further up the stock, we've got the Prince of Wales grip. Obviously game gun, very traditional. I obviously shoot primarily sporters, so for me it feels a bit alien, but for the person who'd be using this for what it was intended for, game shooting, a nice little addition. It's a nice Prince of Wales. Some brands don't get it quite right, the proportions are out, but I think that Cogswell have done a particularly good job on this, which is a bonus. Talking about the grip again, obviously hand checkered, being of this sort of quality of gum. Stunning checker really. A lot of hand checkering on, let's say, not say cheaper end guns, but a lot of the checkering can be a bit, obviously going to have the odd imperfection, but this one hasn't got any imperfections really, as I can tell. They almost look laser done, but it is hand done, which is a nice little touch there. The gun is also an auto safe model, being a game gun. This can be taken off if need be, so if you wanted a manual safety, it can be retrofitted. But this one does come with autosave as standard. Right, moving on to the action, you can see you've got this nice deep floral engraving. A lot of people, in terms of engraving, it, like I say, it's personal preference. I do like the deeper floral engraving, deeper game scene, to be honest. Anything, the not so deep engraving to me looks a bit, I don't know. It's not my cup of tea. It is traditional, but it isn't my cup of tea. But like I say, this does it for me. Really nice with the maker's name embossed in the centre of it. The actual engraving pattern, it isn't the same, but it looks very similar to the DT11EELL in that regard. That deep floral engraving, which yeah. Just moving on to the underside of the gun a little bit. We've got a long trigger tang here. This denotes a higher grade gun traditionally. So cheaper guns tend to have a shorter trigger tang, long guns tend to have a more expensive guns tend to have a longer trigger tang. Reason for this is, well, it's a grade thing. It's a hell of a lot more work to fit this and inlet it into the wood properly, so where the wood to metal fit is finished really well. So, but it's blacked as well, so it's not silver, same as the action, which again is another touch I like because it breaks it up a little bit. So it's this blued finish on the long trigger tang and the trigger guard, silver on the action. Then on the top, the safety catch is blacked, and also the top lever, which I personally like. Some people say that obviously it's better to have a black top lever because when you're looking over the gun, it reflects less. I think it's a load of rubbish really. But anyway, some people do like it like that, but I just like it because of the aesthetics really, it just looks better. There's no practical element to it at all really. But on the underside of the gun, obviously it's engraved, but it says the model, the Optimum, with the actual logo of Cogswell Harrison. Fixed trigger on this model, so we haven't got any fancy adjustable triggers here. Fixed bladed trigger, being a game gun, that's what you'd expect. Gold inlaid on the serial number, nice little touch. Didn't have to do that really, but it is gold and it is nicely inlaid. Some gold you see inlaid looks a little bit like a kid did. Well, I'm saying a kid did it, but it looks a little bit naff. But this has been done really well. So moving on a little bit further up, now onto the barrels and forend. So the barrels on these are 3-inch Magnum, so 3-inch chambered, meaning you can put your heavier load through it if need be. Obviously, what it's designed for, that is more than likely what you'll be doing to a degree. We'll move on to the choking and the steel shot thing in a minute, but this gun is steel shot proofed. But yes, 3-inch chambers on this model, 30-inch barrels, great feature. 30 and 32 is the way to go personally. 28 I think's died really. to be honest. For driven shooting in particular, definitely. Walked up, there's a place. Obviously some disciplines like OSK, Olympic ski, yeah, 28 inch, people do use 28 inch to great effect, but for sporting, longer targets now, 28 inches massively fallen out of fashion. So we've got 30 inch barrels on here. They don't do it in a 32 inch option, which is a little bit sad, but we have them in the 30 inch model. Non-ventilated top rib, being a game gun, you'd expect that. Nicely done as well. No, where they've attached it to the barrels, there's no, again, imperfections like gap lines or anything like that. So it's all nicely fitted to the barrels. Non-ventilated mid rib as well. Game gun, you'd expect it. So no water ingress is going to get in there, rust the barrels potentially. Makes the barrels slightly heavier in my opinion, which personally I quite like. Obviously it wants to be balanced, but I like a heavier gun. Even for a game gun, I think heavier is a better way of going, more controlled, less recoil. Why wouldn't you want that? Moving on to the forend. So it's almost like a London style forend, maybe a bit thicker, so we'll just turn it over. So on here, so it's checkered all the way around, but it is more of a London style forend. You'd expect that. What I do quite like about how they've done it on this one, they've put, I don't know what they call it, but it's like a diamond with some engraving on it in the centre. Just adds a little bit of character really to the gun. The reason they've put that there, would be one of my guesses, are obviously this doesn't have a traditional latch release like you see on a Browning or a Beretta or something like that. This has the button on the top, so you just press the button, forend comes off. I like that feature. I think they should put that on sporters. But for some reason, it's traditionally game guns that come with that on. I don't know why. Probably looks a bit cleaner, but I do like it. So this gun is a fixed choke gun. Obviously, I personally like fixed chokes. I think they're don't get me wrong. Multi chokes have got the place. I like multi chokes. My gun's a multi choke DT11, but I do like fixed choke guns. I wouldn't dismiss them because of the steel shot thing. These guns are fixed at 1/4. So being 1/4, obviously you can still put your standard steel through them, which the reality of it is most people are going to be shooting standard steel. So we get this a lot in the shop. I might do a video on it actually at some point about steel shot. So people think they need fleur-de-lis stamps on everything, which if you're going to the foreshore shooting heavy steel, yeah, you do. But if you're shooting standard steel, you don't need a fleur-de-lis, you just need it CIP-S proofed, or just standard steel shot proof basically, which nowadays most guns are, or they are really. So in your fixed choke stuff that's fixed at like full and 3/4, that won't be, because you can't put steel through it, so they can't proof it for that. But fleur-de-lis, it's nice to have because it does give you that flexibility that obviously you can put it through if you want to, but the reality is very few people are going to be shooting high performance steel shot loads, really. So this is standard steel shot proof, so you can put your standard steel through, but I will do a video and explain it now, the difference between what actually is standard steel, because everyone talks about it, what actually is the difference between standard steel and high performance steel. But this is fine for your standard steel. On the end of this gun, obviously the bead comes with a brass bead. Silver brass, you'd expect it because it's a game gun. You could, if you wanted to, have a red bead fitted at a later date aftermarket, but this comes with the brass bead as standard. So now I've talked about the gun, we're going to move on to what this gun comes with in the box and the actual box itself. So let's have a look. The actual box itself is in a greeny case. Most gun boxes are in the greeny cases now. I'm glad it hasn't come in like a wooden box or more of a traditional box, because they're not as good as the top and tail of it. These Negrini boxes are hellishly strong. Obviously if you're transporting your gun around, you want a strong box. So it isn't a bad thing at all that it comes in a plastic ABS case, in my opinion. I think it's a better thing. So well, go through it. On the top of this box we have got latches. These latches are like your Beretta style, well, say what your Beretta boxes would come on, because the Negrini cases, Negrini lock, go like that. 3-digit codes, these are obviously all set to 0, but you can set them to what you want. So we'll open it up. Right, Not a lot in this box, obviously, because it's a fixed choke gun. One of your major things that you're losing here is your chokes and your choke key. But you do get a pair of barrel socks and stock socks. I'll put them to one side, they're both in there. A nice little touch, I guess. Little bottle of Cogswell Harrison branded oil. Nice little feature, really. Most guns don't come with this, so it's a little bonus. And in the box, which is a little bit odd, you do get a little commemorative pin. People collect pins, I guess. You can stick that where you want. But yeah, you get a little pin. So in this little envelope that's branded Cogswell Harrison, you will have your proof certificate as such, just to say it's pass proof and it's passed as a quality check, essentially, PDI. And this is your book of words that no one will ever read. So in here it'll have everything, like how to care for the gun, but at this point you know how to care for the gun. Generically, obviously, I have done videos on how to care for a gun. So yeah, so here you've got your Resini warranty card. 2 years warranty on these is standard. Nice little feature. Little hang tag, just letting you know that you're getting 2 year warranty with the gun. In here also you get your little Negrini. This proves it's a Negrini case, but anyway. How to set your codes for your latches, basically. I don't bother. I really wouldn't bother. The reality of it is, if someone's going to steal this gun, a screwdriver under that that isn't going to stop anyone. To be honest, I wouldn't bother. Just set them to 0. It's easier. Obviously, if you're doing, I think if you're obviously travelling abroad, doing things of that nature, yeah, it is good practice to do it. But the reality of it is, it doesn't really matter. Nice velvet lining on the inside, nice red velvet lining with the Cogswell Harrison branded on it. Like on the outside, you've got it on the inside that's sewn into the lining. Nice little feature. I like the fact that they put these in as well, so when you're travelling it around, you can secure it in. Being a nice higher grade gun, obviously don't want you stock cracking with, you know, sudden sharp drops and stuff banging across the case. So nice little feature there. So that's a bit of a wrap up of this video talking about the Cogswell Harrison. The Optimum. If you have any questions, drop it down below. Well, I'll be happy to answer. I can't think of every sort of question that someone might be wanting to ask me about the gun. So if you have a question, we do get back to you. So we'll do that. Subscribe, like the video, helps us out a lot. Knows we're going in the sort of right direction. So yeah, we'll see you in the next one.